Jinhsi banner is only here for 5 more days, and I'm just gonna say it right now. I think this character's, including its signature weapon, is gonna be a must pull. So if you're wondering if you should pull for Jinhsi or you should be waiting for ChangLi, I highly recommend going for Jinhsi. And here is why. As a DPS characters, I truly think that this character is just truly not fair. It is incredibly broken the way she is able to do her damage and how easy it is to dish out her damage. And I think this will easily be one of the best DPS going on for the next year, which is how long it took in the previous game punishing Great Raven to power creep the first really overpowered characters, Alpha. Jinhsi is insanely easy to play, significantly easier than any other character in this game. That's because not only she has massive range advantage, but the fact that she can just straight up hover in the air means that she can avoid damage 90% of the time by absolutely not doing anything. If you didn't know, after you switch to Jinhsi and you cast your 2E, your Druid Echo will create a updraft current, and then you can use your grapple hook to basically hover all the way at the very top of the air, making it so that you basically avoid, well, 90% of the attack for free. And this doesn't just limit it to attacks that are hitting on the ground. Because you're so high up in the air, majority of the attacks that have horizontal hitbox you can easily avoid by, again, just being up in the air. Jinhsi also just got a one button do a million damage kind of button going on, and this is extremely overpowered. One of the trickiest aspects when it comes down to dealing against bosses in Wedding Wave is that they are very mobile, they are really aggressive, so your DPS window might not be consistent. If you're playing a characters like Kocharo, you have to make sure you're hitting the boss the entire time to actually dish out your damage potential, and that could be really hard. However, for the case of Jinhsi, her damage is very safe and very easy to make sure it hit for the most part, because you just click E and your damage is done. Oh, and your E is basically guaranteed to hit. You enter this like cutscene so the enemy can't attack you, so it's very safe. You can't ever get hit during your E animation. It can't ever miss because it auto target. Well, it could miss, but for the most part, your E just, you click 100% of the time, you're safe, you don't take any damage because of the cutscene, you always hit the enemy, and that's all you need to do. You just click E, boom, and you just do more damage than any other character in this game. Well, I guess you don't just click E, you do have to do like a small rotation, which, by the way, you can mess up and it's extremely easy. Jinhsi got the easiest playstyles in this game. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, click E, and then 1, 2, 3. And it's fine if you like have to dodge if you do something, because it doesn't reset your sequence. So as long as you attack 4 times, you're good. And you click E. There's no like energy requirement or anything. There's no requirement on the fact that, oh, you have to make sure like, oh, your first 2 attack hit the enemy. No, you just click 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you click E, and this will work every single time. You don't have to worry about like, oh, is this rotation gonna have enough energy? You don't have to worry about like, oh, what happened if I miss a critical attack that generates stacks? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, E. Oh, 1, you can't mess up. And okay, yeah, like depending on how the battle goes, sometimes you click a little slower, sometimes you have to dodge. But with Jinhsi, your sequence never restarts from the beginning. So it's always 1, 2, oh, I gotta dodge, ooh, whoa, 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 and then 3, 4, E. Like, and we gotta talk about how Jinhsi just have massive AoE range. I think this AoE range between her skill as well as her ult is just absolutely unfair. And it's hard to say if AoE should be values in the future just because we don't have that many iterations of the tower yet. But Jinhsi is a character that can do massive single target burst damage and massive AoE burst damage in an extremely big radius. She just does everything too well to the point where I don't see how she's not the most future-proof character right now. But we also gotta talk about the weapon, because I think this weapon is an absolute must-roll in Wedding Wave if you own Jinhsi. I'm slightly afraid of this is going to set the precedent of like, you should always be rolling for the 5-star weapon in this game for your characters, but it started to look like that way, especially for Jinhsi. The gap between this weapon and any other weapon in this game for Jinhsi is way too big. This weapon is way too overstated, and it will be really obvious if we take a look at why this is the case. This weapon provides you with 48% skill damage bonus on its passive itself. 48%. That's like way more than your entire 5-piece set bonus. And because Jinhsi is a character that does pretty much all her damage through her resident skills, this 48% resident skill damage is basically just a massive damage increase for a character like Jinhsi, and so she just paired way too well with a weapon like this. If we compare the signature weapon and the battle pass weapon, which they both have crit rate, you can see that the signature weapon just outclassed the battle pass weapon, which by the way is also only paid to obtain by a lot. The battle pass weapon give a little less base stats. It give like 150 less attack at level 70. It give like a couple crit rate less, but the passive is so incomparable. For the auto trait, which is already the best battle pass weapon, it give 4% attack every single time you land, stacking up to 5 times, right? So basically this gives 20% attack in total, and you can just say 20% attack for flat. And then you look at this, 48% skill damage, and then 12% damage on top of that. So like 56% damage for your hardest hitting skills that dominate majority of your DPS. I don't know how they can just possibly slam 56% damage onto a 5-star weapon, and it's just so obvious that this weapon will outclass any other weapon by far, because this weapon just gives you way too many stats. It's so overstated. This is the most overstated weapon in the entire game for any user that can use it. Jinhsi team is also extremely easy to build for like every single person. You obviously got your default rat character, which is Verena, into your party, but for your final slot, Yanwu do perfectly fine. He's a free character you can obtain in the tower. You just click E on him and he blocked the coordinated attack, and that's it. The thing with Jinhsi is that because she dominates so much of the damage by herself, these two characters don't really need to be that functional or that built, and you just put whatever on them. You just need to proc the coordinated attack to get stacks, and that's all you do. And since Yanwu is not a character that is demanded by most other team right now, you can easily free up this character for Jinhsi team, and you will always have a Jinhsi team going for the tower. Now I want to make a really big final remark. I know I said must roll in the title in the beginning of the video, probably in the thumbnail as well, but that's metaphorically. You don't have to roll for Jinhsi if you don't have to. When we say must roll, it really just means like it's highly recommended that you roll. If someone come to me tomorrow and be like, should I roll for Jinhsi? No context, no like, oh, do you like her design? No like, do you like her gameplay? No like, is she easy to play? If you just ask me the question, should I roll for Jinhsi? Flat, in a blanket statement, I'll say yes. Without hesitation, without doubts, I'll say yes. In that sense, she's a must roll, because without knowing any specific of your preference, like again, your character's design preference, I would always say yes if you come to me and ask, should I roll for Jinhsi? There's no like, she's okay, but you don't have to roll. No, it's always gonna be yes, that's it. So in that sense, she's a must roll. But if you have other reasons, like, you want to say for ChangLi, you want to say for the new drip marketed character like ChangLi and Yuji, Chaji is the other characters, then that's on you to decide. As well as if you really want to pull for that weapon, the only character that is truly a must roll in this game is the rat character called Verena, because she's in every single team. Even though I told everybody like she's the most overpowered character, no one listens to me like, she's a healer, she's not going to be that good. Yeah, obviously she's going to be in every single team. But yeah, let me subscribe, bye bye.